Happy Friday, everyone. It's also Veterans Day. So if you're a veteran, thank you. We always start on our backs, but today isn't an always. We're just gonna sit up really quick for just a moment so I can just do a quick demo and show you something. And then when you go on your back, it might be a little easier to understand in your body. Okay, I'm gonna actually stand up. So what we're gonna work on our back after we work on breathing is some questions came up about hip tightness. Okay, so you have two sides of your pelvis, right side, left side, right hip, left hip. Okay, so you have a hip with a cup in there and your leg bone fits into the cup. We're going really basic. Okay, so your leg's going to fit into this cup. Now, everybody's socket is a different size. Okay, you might have a tight C cup. You might have more of a wide, broad cup. Okay, this along with the ball of your femur here going in, right, is going to help dictate how much rotation. That's your leg rotating in the socket. Okay, your leg rotates externally because we're going to do this on our back. We're going to say externally rotate and internal rotation. Okay, see the difference? Okay, then you have flexion. That's when your knee, your leg comes forward and up. And then you have extension. That is when your femur bone, your thigh bone goes behind your hip. Okay. And to be really careful here, you're not swinging your hip open. That's taking my hip with me. This is just the leg. Okay. So we're going to work on these movements in class. Okay. Your leg also goes out. This is abduction. And then your leg swings in. That's adduction. We're going to do that on our backs for a while. Okay. So now, long-winded way to start class. Let's start on our backs. But those terms, sometimes when you get on your back, everything just gets disoriented. It's just really different. You're like on your back. You're not looking, right? You don't have a visual cue. So if you're a visual learner, it's a little more challenging. So for sure, if you would prefer to start sitting, sit. Have a moment to lie on your back. And then giving your body a moment to feel some stillness. So if we define that, letting your skeleton feel the ground, feel the chair, feel the floor. And then we intentionally hold our skeletons really still. And then the breath moves through your skeleton and the breath moves your body. Your body is really wise. It knows how to breathe. And so we give ourselves a few moments to practice letting go of control and allowing that wisdom body to breathe for us. I'm going to take 2 more breaths here. And then this gentle reminder that you have total agency over your practice. You can do, right, your practice however you need to do your practice. So if something doesn't feel safe or comfortable, back out of it. You can come back to this shape or any other supportive shape. You can come back, find your breath anytime. Right? And that isn't just a practice here on the mat in your class. This is a life practice. You can always come back to a comfortable shape, come back to your body, a safe space, feel your breath. All right, then we're gonna let both knees bend. If you're seated, come onto your back. On your back, let your knees bend. And we're gonna take 5 breaths to practice engaged breathing. So lower abdominals, right? Your corset cumberbund, transverse abdominis is the muscle group. That's that deep, like corset muscle, right? And then we have your obliques on top of that. And then we have your rectus on top of that. So there's 4 layers of just abdominal muscle, okay? So when we exhale, see if you can feel a little more of like a hug, that contraction feel. And then you're going to thread some of that strength tone through your inhale. Right? And as you feel this, there's tone. You can still feel your lower belly, right? You can still feel your belly button slide up and down. You might feel the breath a little more into the side ribs, into the side back ribs, into the low back. All right, then we're going to take your right knee up over your right hip. Your choice, it'll be a little more internal stabilizing and a little more internal work to just hold the leg from your hip. If you need your hands, put your hands on the back of your leg and hold your leg. And then just 3 times with internal resistance. So imagining there's some weight there and you're going to straighten your leg and you're going to bend your leg. So you're just taking your foot straight up to the ceiling, lengthening the hamstring muscle, shortening the hamstring muscle. Same with your quads, right? They shorten and lengthen. Okay, then when your leg is straight-ish, pause. Remember external rotation. Externally rotate that leg a few times. So your leg is up. You're going to roll your knee and your toes away from you. You can imagine your legs like a rolling pin. And then you're going to roll your knee and your toe back in. You can keep your knee a little bent if it's putting a lot of pressure or tension in your hip crease. And then reminding yourself, everybody has a different amount of rotation here. You can try and go all the way to the end range. How far can you roll it out? You want to feel strong and strength in that rotation. We'll do one more. And then when you roll your leg out, so your knee and your toes are facing out, ground through the back of your shoulders and the back of your hips. You can take your arms down by your sides. Try and soften your chest a little bit. So it's really easy to be really tight and grippy in your chest. So just have that awareness. And then soften the chest. You're going to take your inhale and take your leg out in abduction. Take your leg out to the right. And then exhale, bring it in adduction. Just try this a few times, going out and bringing your leg in. Now, as you move here, keeping that left hip, left shoulder down. Sweet. 2 more. Explore how far you can take that leg out without losing stability on the left side. Next time the right leg goes out to the right, hold it there. Find a place you can hold that leg. Come back and take 3 breaths. Don't let your left back hip pop up. Great. And then the leg comes up to the ceiling if it's not there already, and we lower it all the way down to the floor, back to your constructive rest baseline. Check in with yourself. Hopefully checking in from a place of curiosity. And then we're going to take your left leg up. Left knee comes up over the left hip. Just 3 times hamstring stretch. Taking your heel, ball of the foot up to the ceiling and then bending. Back of the hips heavy on the floor. Next time your left leg is straightish, that's different for each one of us. We don't want to add or be really tight and uncomfortable in the hips, so you might bend your knee a little bit. Externally rotate. And then bring the leg back, internal rotation. And just moving the leg in the socket like that. You could bring that knee internally all the way. Just going slow. Notice what you feel. It's like you're lubricating the leg in the socket. One more time. And then when that left knee toe roll out, pause. Arms can come down, soft chest. And then heavy and strong through the right side. You're going to take your left leg out to the left. And then bring it back in. Abduction, adduction. And you can really explore. Let it be more from a place of inquiry and curiosity. Like, how far can you take the left leg? How strong are you on that right side to provide an anchor and provide stability for your left leg? There's a whole lot of people in the room tipping that right hip up. Right? So this is about stability as much as it is about mobility. One more time. And then bring the left leg up. Great. Lower the leg back to constructive rest pose, just on your back. Soften where you might want to soften. Give yourself a couple of breaths. Full exhale. All right, both legs go up to the ceiling. Just give yourself a moment to feel the back of your pelvis. Feel the back of your hips on the floor. Okay. We're going to work really hard to keep those hips super heavy and keep those hips down on the ground. Arms come up towards the ceiling. Right? We've done this one before. This is the second series of the dead bug series. Okay. So don't move your pelvis. Remember what it felt like to just move your leg. Just move your right leg out to the right side. Don't move your left hip up. Try not to move anything, but just the right leg out. Pause. Get your right leg out there and let it set for a moment. And now take your left arm out to the left. Okay, now you have your right leg and your left arm out. Can you feel your back shoulders, your back ribs, your back hips down on the floor? Exhale, bring those two limbs up, back to the ceiling. Go slow, define your range of motion. Hips stay down, left leg goes out. How far? Up to you. Just move the leg. Hold it. Can you feel the strength it takes in that deep, deep low belly area? So deep means internal. Low means navel to pubic bone. Right arm goes out. Hold it. It's not supposed to be super easy. Challenge yourself. And then bring those two limbs back up. And then go side to side a couple more times. As much about mobility as stability, right? For some of us, really plugging into the stability is going to be really challenging. You can go into a challenging, hard spot with curiosity and strength. Good. One more on each side. Great. And then you're going to lower everything down and just give yourself 10 seconds to be quiet and breathe. Great. And then back to constructive rest pose. Bending your knees. All right, we're gonna slowly roll up into a bridge pose. So it's gonna take us a couple breaths to do so. Arms are gonna come down by your side. Okay, if you want to, you could grab the side of your mat and pull your mat towards your feet. So it's like you're gonna pull your arms down out of your ears, pull the mat towards your feet, okay? So we're just gonna do a couple pelvic rock and tips. So drop your belly button down into the floor. Notice how that tucks your tailbone. Posteriorly tucks the pelvis. Now find your pubic bone and push your pubic bone down, and that gives you a big anterior tilt. Your low back pops way up off of the floor. And just do that 2 more times so you really understand and feel that pelvic movement connecting into the low back. Okay, so our low backs have the capacity to find flexion. You are seeking flexion as you push your belly button down. And as you push your pubic bone down, you're looking for that anterior tilt. All right, then you're gonna push your belly button back down and then slowly vertebra by vertebra, push into your heels, get the back of your legs and your hamstrings into your glutes on and roll up, 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 up into our bridge and then roll back down. Okay, so we're gonna lubricate the pelvis and the spine, rolling up to your strong bridge and then rolling down. Next time you roll up into your bridge, pause. So you're going through flexion. You go up into your bridge and then you pause. Doesn't have to be a very high bridge. You're going to push into your heels and then feel your shins, find your shins and push or let your shins elongate towards your toes. So your shins are reaching towards the bottom of your mat. Now just hold, take your pubic bone and start to let your pubic bone reach up, 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 up towards the ceiling. Push into your heels. So we want to make this about your hamstrings for a moment. Super strong upper back legs, squeeze your butt. It's okay just to squeeze it for a moment and then release your bridge with strength. Try not to just fall out of it, vertebra by vertebra. Go all the way back down and rest for 2 or 3 breaths. We're going to do one more. Bend your knees, knees in line with your hips. You can walk your feet out further away or closer in. You're going to push your belly button down and start to roll up. Can you feel your spine moving? Feel those vertebrae like beads on a string moving. Hold your low bridge. Look, feel, go for length, shins going forward. You can take your sacrum, which is that triangular bone in the back pelvis, or your pubic bone, either one, and slowly start to drive that sacrum up, 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 taking your pubic bone forward. Soft chest, super strong corset cummerbund. Can you feel your glutes and your hamstrings? And then when you feel ready, you can stay here a couple more breaths, or with control, ribs come down and then your hips come down. And then we hang out on our backs. Notice what we notice, 10 seconds of silence. Great, and then full exhale. And we're going to roll on over and build your tabletop. So if you're in the room, tabletop on the floor. If you're at home, feel free to grab a chair or a table if it's easier for you to do tabletop at a chair, feel free. All right, so when you get around to table, I always make the funny bad joke that you've run out of furniture at your house, right? And you have to use your back like a coffee table. So you want to find that alignment of ears, shoulders, and hips. And then upper back plugs into your arms, into the hands, into the floor. So really try to feel the back shoulder connection through the arm. And we're just going to walk around on your hands a little bit. So warming up really wide fingers, you can give your arms rotation. Remember the demo at the beginning where your legs externally and internally rotated? Your arms do that in your shoulders. So as you roll your arms away, you might feel that external rotation. You might feel some internal rotation. You can walk your hands, fingers in. You could flip over, walk around on your knuckles or your fingertips. And then as you're doing it, keep going and then try to make that connection. Don't let the cummerbund corset fall asleep. The stronger the corset, the cummerbund, maybe the more easeful this will feel. The stronger we can stay connected, the whole arm into the upper back, right? It's not just like your fingers or hands, it's that whole upper back shoulder to the arm. And then we're gonna come back slowly, tabletop. All right, now trickle down cat-cow, just 2 of them. So go pretty slow. You're gonna start down in your tail. So feel your tailbone. Okay, tuck that tail. So that's gonna draw your belly button up. And then you're gonna go vertebra by vertebra and try and round up, 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 up like a Halloween cat. So you can really go. We want this with strength. Draw your navel, draw your sternum up, look towards your knees into your belly. Now find your tailbone again and let your tailbone go out and up a little bit and go vertebra by vertebra, nice and slow and super strong into your cow. Try and just feel your vertebrae like beads on a string moving through. We're going really slow on purpose, right? If you go slow, it doesn't mean you have to go choppy. You can go slow and fluid. One more time, vertebra by vertebra into your cat. Strength and fluidity go hand in hand. And then find your strong cow, vertebra by vertebra. See how your spine makes these movements. Sweet, then you're gonna go back to your table. We're gonna do a cat-cow combo. You're gonna take your low back into your cat. So draw that navel up. Hold your cat, okay? And then find your middle back ribs. So if you have to use a hand or something to feel your back ribs, find your back ribs and then find cow from the back rib cage up through the shoulders into the back of your skull. So back of the ribs to the shoulders to the skull is in cow, but you're really trying to keep your low back in cat. You're going to take 2 breaths when you feel something like that. And then you're going to let it all go. Whew, shake it out. All right, curl your toes. You're going to lift the knees up and back, downward facing dog. Walk your feet out about as wide as your hips. Bend your knees if you need to, and really take your hip creases, take your butt cheeks back. Down dog is designed to lengthen your low back, your low belly. So go belly button to pubic bone, lower lumbar, long spine. 2 breaths. And then exhale, come on down to tabletop and just press back into child's pose. And then give yourself 10 to 15 seconds of silence. If child's pose is not your jam, roll onto your back or your side or come to seated I'm going to be quiet for about 10 seconds. Just listen to your breath. Great. One more exhale. All right, back to tabletop, and then just sit back on your heels for a moment. One really quick demo. I had a question come in about walking your feet up to your hands in downward facing dog. Okay, so I was just going to do a really quick demo. So when we're here, right, this can feel really awkward. We might not have the capacity, right, to go here. So, right, you can just take your foot as far forward as you can, stabilize in the opposite arm and pick that leg up. Okay. If that's like, oh my gosh, you are crazy. What are you making up? Right. Then just try this, walk back. All right. And then come on up. All right. So let's try it. All right. So go to your down dog. You can also start more, basic, like if you're at home and this is a challenge, grab a chair, right? And do a down dog on a chair and try and walk your feet up to the chair. So step one, find cat pose. Sorry, you're in down dog. Find like a cat dog combo. Okay. Keep your dog, keep your cat, and just lift your right knee and pull your right knee way up into your chest. You got to have that hip strength to pull the knee up into the chest, and then step the foot forward. Step your left foot forward. Sweet. Come all the way on up really slow to stand. Take a full body stretch. And bring your arms down by your side. 5 seconds or so, just breathe. Sweet. And step your feet wide. You can look any way you want to. You can look at me. You can step wide and look at a wall. Okay. So not looking at me forces you to use your ears, auditory, figure it out, right? So pat your left leg. Remember internal rotation. You're going to internally rotate your left leg. Pat your right leg. It's going to externally rotate in the sockets, heel to heel. Okay, lift the front of your hips up. So lift your pelvic crest and let your right knee bend. Straighten your right leg. Let your right knee bend. Great, one more time. Nice. Next time your right leg is straightish, pause. Right leg internally rotates. Left leg externally rotates. Feel how the legs roll in the sockets. Lift the front of the hips. Inhale, bend your left knee. Exhale, straighten. 2 more. Next time your left leg is straightish, pause. Left leg internally rotates. Come back to the kind of front of your mat, wide legs, toes a little more forward. Without moving your legs, imagine you are on ice, okay? And adduct, pull. So you're not going to actually move. You're just going to pull your legs in. Can you feel your inner thighs kind of turn on a little more? Great. And then you're going to push your butt cheeks back and take a wide leg forward fold. Keep your legs pulling in and fold over. Notice what you feel through your pelvis and your low back into the legs. And then inhale, come all the way back on up. Great. Take your left leg, roll it in. Exhale, externally rotate your right leg. Sweet. Bend your right knee. Lift your pelvis. Great. Tip over at the right hip and come back up 3 times. So now your legs are not moving. You're finding flexion in that hip. You're tipping. and you're coming back up. Okay, you're lubricating. Next time you tip over, elbow to knee and pause. Draw your right thigh bone out to your pinky toe a little bit and squeeze your right butt cheek. Sweet, left arm can slide up to the ceiling, spin your chest. Side angle, 3 breaths. Okay, can you feel your corset, cummerbund, transverse area? And come all the way on up. Arms overhead. Straighten your right leg. Rotate your legs back to that wide stride. Sweet, now bring your hands down into your hip creases. Okay, we're gonna fold over just about halfway. So take your shoulders as far as your hips and pause. Now, when you go the rest of the way, see if you can feel your low back almost like a little bit of a cat. Because as you go over lower, 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 your low back has to round a little bit. It's a little bit of flexion. Can you keep that feeling of strong cat? Remember the cat-cow combo? Take your back ribs and take your shoulders up into a little bit of a cow. So your low back a little bit like cat, your back ribs to shoulders like your cow. Exhale, fold. Okay, without moving your legs, that isometric contraction, pull your legs in, adduction, and come all the way on up to stand. Give yourself a couple breaths. Whew. Then your right leg rolls in, internal rotation, externally rotate your left leg, heel to heel. Great, let your left knee bend. Lift the front of your hips up 3 times. Legs stay right where they are. You tip at your hip and come back up. Lead from the hip, come on up, lubricate. Sweet, next time you tip, elbow to knee. Take your left thigh bone, draw it out a little bit towards your pinky toe. You might squeeze your left butt cheek, right arm can reach up. Corset, cummerbund, transverse, nice and strong. 3 breaths. Feel that corset, cummerbund strength come all the way on up. Arms come up. Rotate both legs around. Wide stride, toes forward. Here you go, long spine. Fold over as your shoulders go over, lower, lower, lower. See if you can feel, right? That low back has to start to round. Come on over. Pay attention. Notice what you're feeling. Adjust as you need to. Low back in your cat. Mid back to upper back. See if you can feel a little bit of cow. Exhale, fold. Imagine you were on ice. Adduct your legs and come all the way on up. Keep your legs wide. Take a full stretch. Reach your arms up. And let your arms come down. Hands on your hips. Great. You're going to internally rotate your legs a little bit. So just heels out a little bit, toes in. Okay. Push into your heels. We need to use your hamstrings for extension. Okay. So just like your bridge pose, remember when we were in bridge at the beginning and we're really trying to get your hamstrings and your glutes on? So just like your bridge pose, find your pubic bone. Okay. Lift your hips. So the front of the hips are going to lift up as you take either your sacrum, this triangular bone in the back pelvis, or your pubic bone forward. Just go a little bit. Lift the hip, tip it back. Then a little bit of flexion. Come on up. Push your hip crease, push your butt cheeks back. Come back up. Lift the front of the hip. Push that pubic bone, push that sacrum forward. Okay, hold for a minute. Can you feel your hamstrings, maybe even squeeze your butt cheeks just to know, okay, there's my glutes, there's my hamstrings. Then flexion just a little bit. And then we're just going to come back on up and stand and take 3, 4, 5 breaths, wide stride. Step your feet together. Great. Walk up to the front of your mat. Let your arms hang and give yourself 5 seconds to just reconnect into the ground earth. Listen to your breath. Okay, so on Tuesday, we did sun salutations. Here we go. Nice, slow sun salutation. Exhale, sweep your arms out and up. Inhale, long spine, fold forward. Strong low back. Maybe you feel that rounding in the low back. As you come over, find that little bit of cow in your mid to upper back. When you're ready, exhale, step back, give yourself a few breaths to build your downward facing dog. Bend your knees, do what you need, get a chair if you're at home, use a table. We're going to take 3 or 4 quiet breaths. More challenging, right? Keep your hands right where they are. Come forward, plank pose, or tabletop. Okay, so your shoulders need to be over your wrists. If plank, right, is really hard, walk your feet out a little wider or drop your knees. Can you feel your upper back strength, your corset cummerbund strength? Feel your hamstring strength. Great. Exhale, lower your knees, pause. Okay, here you go. Pull your chest forward and up, modified upward facing dog. Notice how your pubic bone goes down, your hips tip back, you lift your chest. Exhale, either child's pose, tabletop, or downward facing dog. Pause and take a few breaths. All right, so there's your feet and there's your hands. Oh my gosh, we got to walk our feet up to our hands. You can do this. Bend your knees. Okay, now bring your shoulders forward over your wrists a little bit. Pick up your right foot and draw your right knee up. Okay, it's like a cat. Find cat and pull your knee up. Pull your navel up. Now draw your knee foot forward and just put it down where it lands. Step your left leg forward. Right? You might have lots of rounding in your back. Find your cat. Find that low back, low belly strength and push down and come all the way up and stretch. And bring your arms down. Woohoo! 3 breaths. Here we go, a little bit faster. Exhale, sweep your arms out and up. Inhale, long spine, fold forward. Good. Exhale, lift your chest. Inhale, when you're ready, step back, build your downward facing dog. Stay here, come to plank pose, tabletop, or child's pose. You got about 30 seconds. We're going to challenge ourselves in that plank. Right? Don't let your butt sag. It's a little bit better to have your butt higher than sinking. You got to use the back of your legs. Breathe. Strong upper back, strong arms, strong hands. Tabletop if you're in plank. We'll all find table. Slide your chest forward to come up. Notice how your pubic bone goes down, but it doesn't just drop, right? You're long and strong through the front of the hip. Shoulders draw up and back, and then we go all the way back, downward facing dog. Give yourself 5 breaths. Right now, lift your heels pretty high. Find a little bit of that feel like you're drawing your navel up and in. You're scooping that navel. You're finding that cat strength. Great. Now pick up your right knee and draw it up, right into your belly. Step your right foot forward. Pause, step your left foot forward. And then exhale, come all the way on up. Give yourself a full big stretch. And then with your inhale right away, you're going to fold over, step back, downward facing dog one more time to tabletop. To 3 rounds, trickle down cat cow. So go nice and slow through your cat cow. Strength with mobility, right? The larger the range of motion, the more strength we need to really have. See if you can stay strong and aware through the whole range of motion. Great. And then back to good old-fashioned table. Pause to just breathe through your back, 2 or 3 breaths. And then just sit on back and find a really easy, comfortable sitting shape. So you could sit crisscross applesauce. You can bring your legs out in front of you. You can sit back on your heels. All right. So your 2 sit bone, butt bones anchor down, okay, like roots. You want to feel connected into your sit bones into the ground, okay? Then you have your belly button out to your hip bones. So we're going to try and keep your belly button and your hip bones, we're all really aware of our hip bones now, really pretty steady, okay? Find your rib cage. So your thoracic spine up to your neck has this capacity to rotate. We're going to do some twists, okay? So rib cage twists around to the right. Now, when you twist around to the right, find your belly button to your pubic bone. Define your low back. Your low back hopefully isn't twisting a lot. Okay, then take your neck and guide your nose around to the left. And then come back to center. Take your rib cage all the way around to the left. All the way around is different for each one of us, right? Check belly button to pubic bones, not moving a whole lot. And then take your neck spine around to the right. Soften your chest and your shoulders. Awesome. One more time, all the way around to the right. Look to the left. Less is more in a twist. Don't force it. Right. And then come back to center. I think sometimes that's the biggest challenge for some of us, myself, like the overachiever. Like, I really want my body to do this, but it's kind of like not wanting to. And then I force it and I don't feel good. So especially in twists, right? Really let your ribs talk to you. We go slow on purpose so we can listen. Sweet. And then come all the way back. Nice. Bring your legs out in front, and then you're just going to slowly, slowly, slowly roll onto your back. So use your hands on your legs if you need. If not, roll all the way back. Give yourself a full body stretch. And then bring your arms down by your side. Bend your knees. Take your legs pretty wide on your mat. And then just 3 times to each side, drop your knees to the right, windshield wiper your legs so you can feel your legs move in your hip sockets, right? Left legs over, or left, drop them to the left. And then drop them to the right. So when you're dropping your legs to the right, your left hip will lift up. When you drop your legs to the left, your right hip will lift up. And then just keep going if you'd like to. We always take the last few minutes of class for self-care. So maybe there's a stretch you'd really love to do. Maybe you just want to find some time to relax and breathe and rest. So giving ourselves the last few moments here in silence, practicing self-care. And again, noticing, right, whatever you're noticing, and giving yourself a moment to come back to feel the ground holding you up, to feel your breath moving through your body. And then with your next couple breaths, if you're on your back, feel free to either take a full body stretch or draw your knees into your chest. And then roll over and come right on up to sitting. We'll take your arms out and up and give everybody a high five. Thanks, everybody. Happy Friday. Woohoo.